Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz here with meteorologist Corrales Ortiz. Now we're going to get straight into it. I see a lot of blue there behind us. Could some snow be on the way?
Well, we have the potential of seeing some wintry weather in the forecast with back-to-back rounds of just some wet weather for us for the next several days. Matter of fact, as early as tonight, we've already started to see some signs of some possible frozen precipitation up in parts of northwest Arkansas. So this is the latest in terms of the winter weather alerts. We do have some winter weather advisories for tonight due to the fact that we could see some light freezing drizzle, which is already being reported, and also for parts of your Monday afternoon into the overnight hours because of another round of potentially wintry weather for the area. This is what we're seeing right now on our radar. A lot of that rain that we saw much for the day is moving towards our east, still seeing just a light drizzle in parts of northern Arkansas. We'll be quiet and cloudy for tonight. We're cloudy right now with a little bit some drizzle here in the metro, 49 degrees. A bit of a breeze out of the north and east. We'll see showers early and then staying cloudy, cold and damp into the overnight hours with temperatures dropping to around the mid-30s. As we go into tomorrow, generally cloudy, but we'll see the return of more showers, possibly some frozen precipitation by the time we get towards your Monday evening. Again, this is one of many rounds of some precipitation that we're expecting for the upcoming week. Rounds of wintry weather possible for both Monday into parts of our Tuesday and even Wednesday, with growing ice concerns by the time we get towards your Tuesday and Wednesday as well. I'll have more details on that, any impacts we could expect, and maybe even a little bit more in terms of the potential for some ice. I'll explain more in detail in your forecast coming up in minutes.
As Memphis prepares to lay Tyree Nichols to rest this week, there are growing calls for police reform around the nation. The Friday night release of body police camera footage showing his brutal beating during a traffic stop that sparked protests across the country this weekend. Tyler Henry joins us from Memphis with city's emotional plea.
He asked a question that has yet to be answered. What did I do?
At this Memphis church, Sunday's service in honor of Tyree Nichols was titled, "What Did I Do?" That's one question 29-year-old Nichols could be heard asking as he pleaded with police during the violent traffic stop that led to his death 3 days later.
Police tactics need to change, this is all across the board,
Police body camera video of the encounter was released Friday night, sparking nationwide protests into the weekend. The 5 officers were fired and now face second-degree murder and other charges. Additionally, several sheriff's deputies and firefighters involved in the incident have been relieved of duty pending investigations as calls for further disciplinary measures continue.
If you were an officer or a first responder and you sat there and watched this young man die and you did nothing to help resuscitate him, you did nothing to give him aid, then you are just as culpable as the people who beat him down and killed him.
On Wednesday, the funeral service for Tyree Nichols will be held here at this church after he was brutally beaten here in Memphis a little more than 3 weeks ago.
There's a bill that's been sitting in Congress, the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, that because of partisan politics has not been passed.
In Washington Sunday, the Congressional Black Caucus said it wants to meet with President Biden this week to push for negotiations for reforms to the justice system. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Memphis, Tennessee.
In a statement, the Congressional Black Caucus said in part, quote, "The brutal beating of Tyree Nichols was murder and is a grim reminder that we still have a long way to go in solving systemic police violence in America." Lawmakers are sounding the alarm over their lack of access to classified material found in the homes of current President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, and former Vice President Mike Pence. A CBS News poll shows that most Americans believe that current and former presidents and vice presidents should be investigated over the handling of classified documents. The findings come as the DOJ says Congress will not be able to see the documents until the special counsels handling the investigations approve it. Both the leading Democrat and Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee think withholding the material is a mistake.
Our job is to make sure there's not an intelligence compromise.
These are probably materials we already have access to. We just don't know which ones they are.
Argue the committee has a constitutional duty of oversight, and access to the documents would allow them to possibly address potential overclassification of material. Now taking a look at your consumer headlines, CVS and Walmart are both cutting pharmacy hours. The chains say they're experiencing a shortage of pharmacists. CVS will cut or shift hours at about 2/3 of its locations in March. Walmart plans to close their pharmacy 2 hours earlier. Walgreens has already announced reduced hours because of their staffing shortages. The average long-term mortgage rate in the U.S. has fallen to its lowest level in 4 months. That's according to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac, who says the average 30-year rate inched down to 6.13%. A year ago, that rate was 3.55%. The slightly lower rate gives some relief to home buyers, especially as inflation makes things more expensive. The rate for a 15-year mortgage also fell this week to 5.17%. That rate was 2.8% just a year ago. It's tax season and a lot has changed since last year when measures were taken to help taxpayers during the pandemic recession. Casey Decker with our Verify team explains why parents could be seeing a much smaller refund this year.
With tax season underway, Verify is here to answer your questions. We noticed some folks were startled because the money they can get from the child tax credit appeared to have gone down significantly this year. You might remember that as part of the pandemic relief efforts, that credit was increased by at least $1,000 per child. So let's verify. Can families receive the increased child tax credit this year? Our sources are the White House, the IRS, and the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The child tax credit was created in the 90s as a way to give families under a certain income threshold extra cash to help raise their kids. Historically, the money came in the form of a yearly lump sum at tax time, $2,000 per kid. In 2021, President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan, a stimulus package aimed at helping the nation bounce back from COVID. One of its provisions was to increase the child tax credit by $1,000 per kid, even more for kids 5 and under. Some of that money was actually sent out in advance in the form of monthly checks, and the rest claimed on that year's tax return like normal. But the law specifically says this bonus cash was a one-time thing, only for the 2021 tax year. That means there were no more monthly checks in 2022, and the total amount per kid went back down to $2,000. So we can verify, no, you won't receive the increased child tax credit this year. You can still get the regular credit if you claim it on your tax return. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
We have some traffic info you need to know before heading out for that Monday morning commute through Little Rock. Starting at 6:30 a.m. in the city, there will be single lane closures on the I-30 frontage roads between 4th and 10th. Also on this side of the river, the 6th Street Bridge will close, so you're going to want to look out for those detour signs. On the north side of the river, the eastbound lane on Broadway between the frontage roads will be closed from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can find that full list of lane closures around the city on our website at thv11.com. We also need to tell you about some potential changes to your fitness schedule this week. The indoor pool at the Jim Daly Fitness and Aquatic Center will be closing on February 1st for major renovations. City officials say the closure allows for a major overhaul. The city of Little Rock did not say when the pool would reopen. The Make-A-Wish Foundation is helping one 14-year-old from Greenbrier's dream come true. THV11's Julissa Garza gives us a closer look.
Sunday afternoon, 14-year-old Ashley Pearson thought she was going to eat with her family like a normal day and didn't expect this. Her family throwing a party celebrating a dream come true. She's going to New York City.
So shocked, like, I'm gonna be going there. And a lot of people live there, and you just like, how do you not cry every day from seeing the world there?
The Make-A-Wish Foundation is making this trip happen. Her dad and stepmom thankful she gets to experience this.
Truly blessed.
Truly blessed, extremely happy for her to see the happiness come through.
Almost a year ago today, Ashley's life changed.
I had cancer, and then I had a tumor. and it was just very shocking.
Throughout her difficult journey, she's fought to remain positive, no matter what.
I'm feeling down sometimes, and I'm like, why am I still doing this if I feel like this? But most days, I know that I'm very strong.
And says it's thanks to her family.
My dad does for sure. He's like my best friend, which is weird to say, but he's been there for me my whole life. Even when my mom died of cancer, and Amanda's been there for me too, for sure. Ever since she's came in the picture, she's been there. And I know my mom is watching over me in heaven as well.
Her parents say they're proud of the strength and resilience she has at such a young age.
She does a really good job at keeping the positive attitude.
Ashley approaches each new day with optimism.
I know that I'm very strong and that I made it in life so far, and that I'm going to keep making it in life as time goes on.
In Greenbrier, Julissa Garza, THV 11 News.
Ashley is set to head for New York City on Wednesday. She's already packing today, has a playlist ready to go, and a list of everything she wants to do there. Now, a good book always seems to expand young students' imagination. Well, in just 7 minutes, we'll show you how kids in Bryant are using technology to make stories come to life. But first, a quick check-in with Corrales. What's going on in the forecast?
Yeah, we have some growing concerns seeing some widespread wintry weather later into the week. Here's a live look across central Arkansas. We're seeing a little bit of some drizzle for our night. It will be cloudy starting off our work week, but we see the return of some rain and wintry weather once again for our Monday. More details of what to expect for the upcoming week is coming up.